Hi, I'm Obina, a UI UX designer here at NetDI. So we're going to be designing an online music streaming application. Okay, and this video is actually for NetDI Alliance, right? NetDI Alliance UI UX community. So it's a community whereby UI UX designers, both beginners and intermediates, tend to come together, and then the whole purpose of this group is for them to actually attain mastery. So we're actually going to be designing, like I've mentioned earlier, as a online music streaming application, and we'll just go into that right now. Also, kindly subscribe to our channel, right, and click on the post notification icon, right, so you can always get a notification whenever we drop a video. Note that our contents are going to be coming to you back to back, and if you find this useful and important and informative, always share to someone else. So the first thing we want to actually do is we're going to design our project brief and our flowcharts. So let's get started. All right, so first things first, for this our particular project, I've titled the project Bars, and like I mentioned earlier, let me just come again. Bars is going to be a music streaming platform. Obviously it's actually online, right? So the first thing we want to get ready is what's our project brief. Right, so the project brief now is a well-documented file on the functionalities and the features that are going to be in that particular application. So let's take a quick look into our project brief. So I've actually prepared one already, so we're just going to dive into that real quick. So what you can see here now is what's just the heading, which says Bars project brief, and then there are two main headings in a project brief. Right, the first one you have is what? Your project's overview. And what is your project overview? Your project overview is just what that particular project is all about. Right, so this particular project is about what? So Bars is an online music application where users can stream their favorite tracks, download tracks in-app in order to listen offline. And also users should be able to create small groups whereby they can listen to a particular playlist or track simultaneously. So that is your project overview. It's just the project overview is just you introducing the product to someone. So I guess that's understandable. And the next thing once you look at, this is like the second, these are the project overview and the user functionalities are the two main things. The functionalities, or you can call it functionalities or just user functionalities, are the features that are going to be in a particular application or product. So in this particular one, we have a few of them, and the first one we have there is what? Our authentication page. So your authentication page is what? Just your login and create account page. The next one we have the explore music page. In the explore music page, you should be able to explore different kind of tracks, different genres and all that, right? So we have play downloaded tracks offline. That's also a functionalities. We have create playlist, favorites music page, and then create music groups and listen together. So these are the functionalities or features, whichever way you choose to call them, it really doesn't matter. But these are the functionalities, the core ones that are going to be in this particular product, right? So, well, after you've done with your user functionalities, you want to define your target audience. So who are your target audience? So, well, music lovers from 13 and above, right? So if I told you from 13 and above, you should be able to use this platform. And then you're going to define the type, right? So the different platforms you can have web, you can have mobile, or you can even have both of them. But I just want this, what we're actually designing in this particular project is just what? A mobile application. So that's why the platform over there is actually just a mobile app. So we're going to be designing this, and we're going to be using what's Adobe Xd. Adobe Xd is a very exciting tool, and it's a prototyping tool. Some people prefer Figma, others prefer Adobe Xd. But if you ask me my preference, well, I can't really say. Anyone you give me, I'm actually going to work with it seamlessly and fine. It just depends on your own ability right? To understand one, and then once you understand one, you can actually use the other one. So it's not even about learning the two or anything. You can learn both of them, good and fine. You can major in one, good and fine. But if you ask me my preference, I really don't have one. So let's look at the phase of development. Yeah, so the phase of development is actually very important when you're doing a project brief, because this phase of development means what are you going to go through before you actually come up with the actual products that you want to show the world or show the client. So the first one we have there is what? Creating flowcharts, right? So our flowcharts, we're going to be doing our flowchart. We're going to create our flowchart right after I'm done explaining the project brief. So the next one, we're going to be designing the wireframe, and then we're going to go into the mockup and prototyping. Okay, so these are like the phases of development. And lastly, we have our time frame. So the flowcharts I mentioned there is going to take me what, 1 week to actually come up with the flowcharts, and then the designing the wireframe is going to take me about 2 weeks. The mock-up and prototyping also 2 weeks, right? So it can take you more, it really doesn't matter. It can take you less, it really doesn't matter. But I put 1 week there, or I put 1 week there for the flowcharts. Why? Because I know that I can do this in a day or two, right? But I don't want a situation whereby I'll give you a particular deadline and then I can't meet that particular deadline. So you can always, like, give yourself more space, in as much as you can do it in a lesser time than that. Okay, so we have our time frame. So 1 week, 2 weeks, 2 weeks for the the other phase of development, and the total duration is what, 5 weeks. Okay, so obviously the first one we're going to start with is what's our flowchart. So we're going to talk about flowcharts more in a bit right now. So let's just jump into what a flowchart is, and then the tool we're going to be using is draw.io. I would have told you I'll present it in the next video, but let me just tell you now. I'm going to be using draw.io to see how we can actually draw and create a simple flowchart. Okay, I'll see you there. This, what you can see on the screen now, is draw.io, and I mentioned in our mentioned that we're going to actually design a flowchart using this tool. So there are other tools that I can actually use, but I think this one actually calls me, it relates to me. We have this kind of understanding and chemistry, right? So that is why I actually like this tool. So if I thought you want to go here, you can choose to use the desktop version, but I'm just using your online version. So draw.io, I just hit enter, and then they might tell you to sign up, register and all that, and then you can actually start working with it. So you can see it's a flowchart maker and an online tool. So I can just select this guy here, that is create new diagram, or open an existing diagram if I thought you have one, and then I can just input anything. I'll just leave that as untitled, or select this guy and then create, and then you can just create this real quick. So I want to save it on my local drive, so I can just input e-commerce flowchart, hit enter, and then I'll do this. So you can see over here showing this pop-up that you can get the desktop, or I really don't need a desktop. You can just get a desktop. It's still basically the same format, right? You still need to connect to the internet and use the particular tool. So this is your workspace area, and you can see here it's showing you what, e-commerce flowcharts. Oops, I didn't spell flowcharts properly. I can just double click on that, select this, and you can just select this, and then I'll just rename it here, CHART, and then I'll just save. It should reflect here. Okay, great stuff. Okay, so this is your workspace area. On your left hand side, you have different symbols, and on your right hand side, you have your properties interface. So I'm just going to introduce you to a flowchart real quick. What is a flowchart? So a flowchart is just what? A symbolic representation of how data is passed from one point to another. So it basically represents what the different processes that actually lead from one point to another in whatever you're actually trying to create, maybe your mobile app or your website or whatever it is, right? So it's just what a symbol. It's just how data is passed from one point to another point. It's as simple as that. And the thing is that I mentioned symbolic representation. That means that each operation or each process is actually represented by a symbol. So I'm actually going to show you the most common symbols that actually come across when you're designing a flowchart. So this first one we have here, I'm just going to click on that. Once you click on any item here, it's going to bring up that particular item. And then once you just click, it's going to show you this cursor, which means that you can actually input a text into that. So I'm just going to input this symbol represents what? START or end. Oops. START/end. I'm just going to zoom in a bit so you can actually see that properly. So this symbol, which is your oval, it actually represents the start or the end symbol. That is what this guy stands for. Just move this here. We have this guy, which is a rectangle. So a rectangle actually stands for what? A process. So any process you have that in your flowchart, this is the symbol that's going to present it. And we have the diamond. So the diamond represents your yes or no. So with the diamond symbol, you can actually have yes or no. You can have true or false, right? So it's actually like a crossroad. You have to actually choose this or you choose that. You can't have like you can't just have one straight one. You have to have like two options basically. You have to have two options. Either you go this way or you go this way. So that's just that about the diamond shape. So we're actually going to be using all this when we're designing our flowcharts right here. So the other one we have is we have our parallelogram. So the parallelogram stands for inputs and outputs. Yeah. We have our cylinder. Your cylinder actually stands for database. Right? It stands for database, database. Stands for database. And then we have our directional arrows. So your directional arrows actually shows you the flow of how one point leads to another. So these are like the most basic symbols that we can actually get. So let's create a flowchart now, right? We're going to create an e-commerce, a simple generic e-commerce flowchart right now. So now we want to design our flowchart, and like I mentioned, we're going to be using a particular tool called diagram basically. So this is the URL apps.diagrams.net. So once you just visit this, let me just come in. I can select, I can just input apps.diagrams.net, and then it's going to open up the tool for me. So it's actually an online tool. You have to have internet access to actually play around with it. Okay, so if I have an existing document, I can just open it as an existing document. But if I want to create a new one, I can just create a new one here. So basically I'll just call this e-commerce flow charts, and then hit create. Okay, so I'll just wait for that to come up, and then okay, I'm going to save it wherever I want to, whatever directory I want. I can just call it e-commerce flow charts, MERCE. Yeah, I have another one there. I'll just call that this one. Okay, so it's going to load our workspace area for us right now. Okay, so you can see on the left top corner, you can see the name of that particular file. If you double click here, you can always change the name here. You can see once you just double click. So I'll just close this. So this is basically your workspace area. On your left hand side, you have your tools. You can see the different shapes and all that, right? And then on your right hand side, that's your properties interface, right? And let's talk about the different symbols you have in flowcharts. So if I come here and I just click on this drop down, you can see it showed me different sections here and all that. So if I just select flowcharts, it's actually going to load or show me just the symbols that are associated with flowcharts. So this is what I have. And then the cool thing is, once you hover your mouse over any one of them, it's actually going to show you what that particular one is actually used for. So that's quite helpful. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, I want to just introduce you to the most commonly used symbols that we have here. So the first one we have is this guy, which is your stats. So once you just click on any one of them, it's just going to come on your workspace area. And then if you want to move it around, you can see these those four pointed arrow here that you can see. Once you just click, you can just drag it around that particular your particular workspace and all, right? And to delete that, you can just select and then hit delete on your keyboard. So I'm just bringing in this guy here. This is my stats, right? This guy symbol, it symbolizes starts or end. And to add a text in here, I can just double click and then just input what I want to input there. So starts or end. This is the symbol for that. Okay, so I want to look at another one, decision. We have decision here, this diamond that you've seen here. This decision is our decision. Yeah, I hope I spelled that right. Okay, so your decision is basically think about it as a crossroad, right? It's either you do this or you do that. It's either yes or no. So basically, you have two options or two processes or there are two events that can happen, and there is a probability that either one of them can happen, but two of them cannot happen at the same time. It's either one happens and the other doesn't happen, right? So that's just your decision. So it can be yes or no, it can be true or false, it can be this or that, whichever one suits the particular operation that is being carried out at the moment. Another one we have here, we have this guy. This guy here is a database. So if I thought you want to reference your database in your flowcharts, you can use this as a database. This guy here is basically your inputs or outputs. Inputs/outputs. Yeah, this parallelogram here. One more again, and then we will see what we have for today. This represents a process. So any process that you have in your flowchart, you can use this to actually represent it. And then last but not the least, that guy is not here. I'll just close this and come to general. I need my directional arrow. right? So this shows you the flow of how data is passed from one point to another, right? It's just your directional arrow, directional arrow. Exactly. So we're going to be working with these guys right now. Okay, so we're going to create a simple e-commerce flowchart. That's why you actually titled it like this, a simple e-commerce flowchart. But let me just show you what you can actually do with the diagrams.net tool. Okay, so on your right hand side over here we have grid, we have page view, we have background, we have shadows and all that. So these guys, we have diagram here and then we have styles here, right? So styles basically are, you can see once I just hover my mouse over this item, you can see how they're actually changing and all that. So these are like preset styles that you can actually use in your design, right? If I come to sketch here, you can see it's giving you this kind of sketchy feel and all that, like it was drawn with a pencil or a biro and all that, right? So you can actually play around with the tool. If I come to my diagram here, I can choose to change the background. So I can actually impose the URL here of that particular background, and then it's actually going to change for me and all that. So even the grid that you can see, these lines you can see here, I can choose to change the color. Let's say I use this and I hit apply. You can see it's actually changing all those items for me and all. My grid, I can also say, hey, you know what, let's reduce this grid to, let's say 1, let's increase it to 10. So basically, but the normal thing that you have here is what your preset kind of, right? The preset, and then I guess the default for this should be, let's say, actually a shade of gray. So yeah, so we can work with this. So let's get into business. So the first thing we want to do now is bring in our start symbol, right? We can just bring in our start symbol, which is this guy. So I'm just going to input what starts here, right? Because this is the beginning of what our flowchart. So basically, my start is basically still my home. If you think about it from the e-commerce point of view, now if at all I go to www.whatever.com and I go to the landing page, basically that landing page is basically what my home page. So I can just, instead of putting start here, I can just input home. It's still basically the same thing, because home is like the beginning of this particular item. And then from my home, you see this little icon that's actually showing here, means that I can actually add another flowchart real quick, and then it's just going to connect it. You can see, instead of drawing it one after the other and all that. So I can just click here. Once I click here, I can just, okay, you know what, I'm going to select a process. So you can see, and if I resize it, you can see it's quite responsive, right? Okay, so from my home, I can go to my all products page, and I can go to my categories. I'm still going to explain this. Let me just draw this. Let's say this. We have another one I want here, but I want it here. I'll just say categories. After my categories, I can say, okay, you know what, for my home also I should be able, okay, I didn't select a shape there, I'll select a process. I should be able to log in or create accounts. Exactly. So what is this telling me right now? It's telling me that, hey, what's up, this is your home, right? This is your home, and from your home page, basically once you come to the home page, you will see what the all product page.
The all products page is just listings of different categories of product. You can see, let's say on the first section, you may see featured items. On the second section, you may see popularly sold items. On the third one, you might see sales or bonus items and all this kind of stuff, right? So that is what this guy is just showing us. And then also from my home page, I should be able to access the different categories I have on this platform, and then have a choice to actually log in or create an account. So this is just what a simple flow. I can just drag, let's say I'll drag this guy down here. Yep, it looks cool, it looks better like this. Just drag this down here. Okay, and I'll reduce this a bit. It's looking too big. Okay, I'll reduce this also. I'll do the same for this. Okay, so this is just a simple flow. So what this is telling me now, from my home, I can go to my categories, I can still view my all products page, I can choose to log in or create an account. I can even add another extra category, another extra string here, extra arrow. Oops, Ctrl Z. So undo that. I'll just come here, click on that, and then do this, then drag this here. Let's drag this here. I can just come here. Once it shows me this there's two arrows with a line between it, I can just drag this down here. Okay, so it laps properly. Select this again, minimize it. I can even come here and input what, let's say search, SERCH, right? That means I can actually search for items. So there's no limit to what you can actually do on your flowchart, but I'll just remove this for now. So from my categories, we'll start with the categories. Let's see what we can do. From my categories, this is the end of my workspace area. There's no longer space there, so I guess I'll just highlight all these items and then drag them bits to the right so I can have enough space to do what I want. Okay, that should be good. Can come up here to zoom out. Let's give it 50%. Okay, well, you can still highlight and move it again to the right a bit so I have enough space. Oh yeah, enough space to do what we want. All right, that's fine. You can still zoom back in using this, or you can use any of these icons. Zoom in and zoom out. So this is what I have. So for my categories now, I can have various listings. I can have different categories under this guy here. So let's create some. I'll just click on this plus sign again, create this. You can choose to minimize it, or even if I don't want to use this method, another way of doing it, which is actually I think slow, I can just come here, Ctrl C and then Ctrl V. That's just copy and paste, right? Okay, then go Ctrl C, Ctrl V. You can see it's just going to duplicate that item for me with the same size, basic and everything. So I can come here and say, you know what, this guy should be shoes, right? I can create another category. Ctrl D. You can either use Ctrl D or you can use Ctrl C and Ctrl V to actually duplicate items. I can say, you know what, this should be, let's say, bags, and another one, Ctrl D. Let's see, this guy is accessories. Well, I'll just use this tree for now, but in the real sense, I can actually have more categories, right? I can have more categories if at all it's not limited to this, right? But this should just show you or depict what is trying to happen right here. So I can even just come here to just draw an arrow and link it here. Good and fine. Still, like, make sure it's looking nice. Do the same thing here. I want to make sure that it's at the center. That means I'll just drag this to the right a bit. Oops, Ctrl Z. I'll drag this to the right, okay. And then this also. Well, the way it's looking now, it's looking too clustered up and all, right? So I'll just drag this item here and drag it further right, and then just make few more changes. Drag it further right and make some few more changes so I have enough space. And I'll just put this. You can just delete all these connecting lines first of all. See what we have. Okay. All right. So our shoes, our bags, our accessories, so that they don't like get jam packed over here, right? There's a reason we gave it enough spacing so that it won't look clustered. So this is what we have. So I can just link this, come here, do the same for this. Just bring this down here. Okay, do the same for this, bring this down here. Okay, so it's looking nice and quite arranged. Looking nice and quite arranged. So from my shoes now, I can have what? Different listings of shoes under this item. I can have what? I can have casual, I can have sneakers, I can have loafers and whatnot. I can have different subcategories under what? These shoe categories. Same for what? Bags. Same for what? Accessories. Under bags now, I might have clutches, I might have handbags, I might have school bags, I might have different kind of subcategories under this particular category. Same thing for accessories. I can have what? Earrings, earrings, I can have rings, I can have necklaces and all that. So it really doesn't matter. You can have a lot of categories under this particular guy, but for this I'll just show you how you can just bring the different subcategories just using these shoes that we have here. So I'll just duplicate this, right? I want it to just be the same size, the same height and width, right? I want the height to be the same. That's why I'm not actually like creating a new one all over again, because once I rename, once I just say, let's say sneakers, I'll have to start resizing this again and all. So let's just leave that. We'll just duplicate and then make do with what you have. So I can just put sneakers, yeah, just push this to the side here. I can duplicate this. I can have, let's say, casual, Control V. I can have, let's say, corporate, COPRETE. So these are what? Different subcategories under our categories, our shoe categories, right? I'll just move these items here so they can have enough space, and I think I'll even drag them a bit more. Okay, this is actually fine. So now I'll bring in what? My arrows to show the flow of these different items. I can drag this here. I can drag this here. I can just drag this here. Oh no, it's acting weird like that. Well, okay. I can do the same thing here, right? So you can see it looks like they're all coming what from this particular item, this shoe item, and then sneakers, casuals, and corporate. So what now? The next thing is under these sneakers now you can have different types of sneakers, right? You can have the Adidas, you can have Nikes, you can have can have Puma and all those different kind of brands under this particular item. Same for this, same for this. So you can see how the data is actually passed from one point to another. From categories, you selected the shoes. From the shoes now, you have the different categories inside the shoes and all that, right? So I want to see the different categories now inside this particular one. There is what? Sneakers. I'll duplicate this. I can just impute let's say Nike, Nike. You can impute Nike, place that here, duplicate, Control D, come here again. Let's say Adidas, duplicate this again, Control D, and let's say we have Puma here, Puma, right? So basically sneaker brands. Okay, so just move them closer a bit. And what will I bring in now? I'm bringing what's my connector basically. Well, my arrows. Connector is actually a different thing entirely when it comes to flowcharts. So you can just do this real quick. Make sure it's in the middle. I don't like the way this is positioned. I'll just move it here. Is acting weird. Control Shift. I'll just delete this and do that again. I want it in the middle. Okay, that's nice. Just come here, drag it down. All right. So obviously, from my sneakers, different what we still have different subcategories inside these subcategories that of the main category. So basically that is just what the flow. You can see the hierarchy of how things actually coming from this point to this point to this point and then finally to this point that we have here, right? So for example, let's say under the Nikes I have a particular shoe I want. Let's say the Nike 360 that I want to get here. Nike 360. Let's say for example I've navigated my whole way, let's say from the home page to categories to shoes, then sneakers to the Nikes, and then I see Nike 360 that I actually want, right? After let's say searching or surfing for this particular item, and then let's say I've finally gotten it. I'll bring the arrow key here, and then what is going to happen after this point? I've seen what I want to get, right? So what's going to happen after this point? So we'll come back to it once we're done with this guy, and then I'll show you the link in how that particular point links to another point and all that. I think I'll extend this guy here. You can multiple select items though. You can select this, hold shift, select this, and then I'll just drag them here. But it's actually breaking from the parents and all that. So I can just bring it back here. Okay. So on my all products page now, I want to see what we have. I think I'll move this guy to a bit. Move it in a bit. Move this here. Okay, so from my all products page, like I said, the all products page is what? Once you just come there, you can see different listings of products. You can see the featured, you can see on sales, you can see basically diverse items, right? So that's why it's basically like called the all products page. So from the all products page, let's say for example, I see a shirt that I like. I see a shirt that I like. I say, okay, hey, what's up? Let me get this shirt for myself. So once I select that particular item, where is this going to take me to from the all products page? I'll duplicate this and then just drag this down here. So the next place it's actually going to take me to is what? My all products page, right? Control Z, sorry about that. Just put this here and come here, all products page. Sorry, product is from page rather. I was looking at that other one, products. This creep. Product is from page. You can put page there, doesn't matter. So from this point, from my all products page is taking me to my product description page. What is my product description page? So your product description page is just a description of what that particular product that you actually want to purchase, right? It shows you, hey, what's up? You want to buy this shirt? These are the available sizes. This is basically just a definition or a description of that particular item, right? So that's the product description page. So from this point, I will just put this here. From this point now, the next thing is, hey, what's up? okay, do you actually want to buy this, or do you, or what are you doing? You've seen the details, you've seen the price and all that. All those things are basically in here. So what next now, right? So what is the next thing from this particular point? The next thing we need to do is, I'll remove this arrow. You're going to basically choose to check out, right? But I don't want to, that is skipping a whole lot of processes, right? But let's take it one by one now. So the next thing that I actually want to use here is what? This decision symbol. This is it, right? So I'll just place this down here, and then during this process, it's going to basically prompt me. It's going to ask me, hey, what's up? Decision. It's basically good. Oops. What am I doing? Thank you. All right. So from this point, it's actually going to what? Prompt me to, hey, what's up? Are you done shopping for this item, or do you want to actually continue shopping? That is a decision at this particular point. So for my product Scrum page, if I want to proceed now, it's going to give me this prompt that says, hey, what's up? Do you want to continue shopping, or are you done shopping? Right? So at this point, it's basically a decision. So instead of putting this decision here, I can just input a question that says continue shopping. So continue shopping. If I want to continue shopping, I can say, hey, what's up? Yes, I want to continue shopping. And then let's say it takes me back to my all products page. I'll just come here, just move this like this. Yes, which is what? A yes, right? That means I'll input yes here, yes. If I want to continue shopping, it's going to take me here, right? But if I don't want to continue shopping, where is it going to take me to? It's going to take me basically to my checkout. So I can just come here, duplicate this. I'll just place this down here, put my arrow, and this is my checkout. Okay, and this is basically what's a no, right? We have the yes there, so this guy should actually be what's a no. I'll just zoom in a bit. Come here to impute my no. It's not coming up. Just duplicate this guy here. Control D, and then place it here, and have that as NO, no, in all caps though. So we have no here, right? So basically, if I want to continue shopping, I'll zoom out. If I want to continue shopping, which is a yes, I think I moved this by mistake. If I want to continue shopping, which is a yes, it's going to take me back to my all products page, so I can keep on surfing for items and all that, right? But if I don't want to, and it's a no, it's going to, hey, tell me, hey, what's up? At this point, you have to check out. So at this point here, it's going to show me, hey, what's up? Okay, you want to buy a shirt. This is the shirt you want to buy. This is the price. This is the quantity. This is the color. Basically, the details of that particular item I want to buy. And then also in this checkout point, I'm meant to input my details that will be necessary for delivering that particular product to my address, right? So let's say at this point you have to input your email, you have to input your email address, you have to input your delivery address, and probably your phone number, right? So at this point you have to actually do all of that here, right? So let's say for example, you actually imputed all those details, right? And then you want to proceed. Before you can actually proceed from this point, you have to have an account with us, or you have to log into your current existing account. So for example, now let's say you don't have an account here, you don't have an account. It's going to what? Prompt you to what? Create an account, and then I can just link this guy here to those points, which is what? Log in or create your account. But in the real sense, it's just what? For you to just create your account, right? So if the checkout is yes, basically, let's say yes, yes. Sorry, if it's let's say successful, right? You can use successful, or if it's basically, you can also use yes or no. Let's use yes, but instead of yes, it is a no here. So basically, the checkout failed for you because what? You don't have an account. So you have to basically like create an account, right, before you can actually check out. But then if it's successful for you, the next thing you have to do is what? Make payment. So I'll duplicate this because we have another decision now that's actually going to be here, right? So just do this, and over here is going to be a yes. It's going to be a yes. I'll duplicate the item here, and then I'll place this here. Oops. I want to edit this text, and it's playing around on the screen. Let me zoom in. So yeah, got you. YES. So I can zoom out, so you can see what we have now. So from those points, there's a no, right? Maybe it's failed, or because you didn't really fail, but the fact that I don't have an account was we want you to create an account with us, yeah, and then it's going to take you here. But if I thought you already have an account, right, and you just log in on this particular item, it's actually going to take you to the next process, which is what? Payments. PAY. The payments. So at this point, you're going to what? Make payments. And why is it a decision? It's a decision because, well, at those points, basically, if at all you don't have, let's say you don't have enough money, or you don't have enough funds in that particular account, right? Let's say the funds you have is actually less than the item you actually want to purchase. Is actually going to be a failed transaction, kind of, right? That's because you don't have enough funds. And then also there can be banking errors and all that can actually occur here. So basically there should be what? A decision. But this decision now is basically not even really controlled by you, right? It's not like you're the person that is handling the whole process behind this, if you think about it. So the payments now, if at all it is successful, and then if at all it fails, we're going to show that real quick. I'll just put this here real quick. Let's Control Z this. We'll have our yes or no at this point, or okay, and then if successful, we already have our arrow here, right? So basically, if the payments fails, it's going to take you back to your checkouts, basically. And your checkouts now, you can remove what's the excess item that is actually not let's say you have 18,000 at this particular point. Let's say you have 18,000, you want to have 18,000 at this particular point, right? And what you have in your account is basically like, let's say 16,000. So you're basically 2,000 short right? So at this point, you can actually remove those items, right? Remove the excess items that you have there, and then continue with the payment. So if at all it is failed, or if at all it fails for any reason, let's say FAIL, it's going to take you back to this point, right? But if at all it's successful, let's duplicate this, Control D, just drag this here. If I thought it's successful, always jumping around, let's zoom into that so we can see. Let's see. If I thought it's successful, it's going to basically generate an order receipt for you. An order receipt. So I can just come here basically and just duplicate this, and then generates order receipts. Order receipts. Right? So you can see how it actually goes from one particular process, right, to another. So it's actually showing us the flow of the items that we actually have. So now back to this. So for example, now we've come to this category, sneakers, added Nike and all that, and then we've seen the item we want here. So basically, once I select this item that I want, it should take me where? Basically to my product description page, which is this guy here. So I'll just align this properly, make sure that I'll just arrange this so it doesn't look messy, right? So you can actually see the flow now that you actually have here, right? This thing, it didn't lap well. I'll zoom in. Let's see if I can correct that real quick. Okay, zoom out a bit. So this is what we have. This is what we have. So what? From my Nike 360, it takes me to the product description page of what? My Nike 360, right? And then still the same process. Continue shopping, your checkout, your payment, and then if successful, it generates what? An order receipt for you, right? So at this point, let me come back here. I'll come back here now. So at this point, once you log in or once you create an account, it should basically take you to your user dashboard, right? User dash. Right? So I will just connect that here real quick. So what will I be able to do from my user dashboard? From my user dashboard, I should be able to view recent purchases, right? I can come here, duplicate, or just view all purchases, view all purchases, view all purchases, right? I should be able to track current items, right, that are not yet delivered, right? Track status of ordered items. I should be able to what again should I be able to do? I'll just add this guys here. Zooming, let me bring in the arrows so you can see what we have. Yeah, this guy is not even looking nice. It's not centralized here. I want it to be centralized. Okay, I think I'll bring this down a bit also. Bring this down. Yeah, it's looking much better that way. Okay, So you should be able to view your purchases, track status of other items. You should be able to what? Also view or manage carts. So bring in our arrows. Okay, this is what we have. Zoom out. Right, so once I'm at this point, yeah, you know, from this continue shopping, your checkout, and then okay, obviously I've added some items that I wanted, but because I don't have an account, I was prompted to create an account, right? So once I create that account, it takes me to my user dashboard, right? And then since I'm basically a new user, but I have some pending items here, if I come to manage carts, right, I should be able to go back to that particular process that I was in, right? So once I just come here, I can just add this guy here. I'll just drag this guy to this, and then I'll just properly arrange it like this. Yeah, so basically I can continue my process, right, and then make payments and all that, right? So basically that is what I have. And after your payments is successful, you generate an order receipt for you, right? From your order receipts now, it should take you back to what? Your user dashboard, which is this guy here, right? So I think I'll just drag this guy here a bit. Let's see where it looks like up there. Okay, that's looking quite okay. And then we're basically done with these simple flowcharts, right? So let me zoom out. Let's see what we'll have. So basically for my home, my all products page, go to the stream page, continue shopping, yes or no. You have the checkout. If you have the checkout, if I thought you have an account, or if I thought you have an account, it creates one. If I thought you have one, you just log in here, and then basically that shows that you can actually get items from this particular site. And then if yes, okay, if yes, it takes you to the payments page. If it's successful, you can go back to you have to go back to this point whereby you can look at the different items that you have in there, right, and then see basically know if it's actually banking error and all that, right? So if it's successful, which is yes, if it's successful, it generates an order receipt for you, right, and then takes it back to your user dashboard. So basically I would have added more items and all that, right, but this is just a simple flow chart for an e-commerce platform, right? So yeah, that's just it though. So the one we're going to be using, I've already designed it, so I'll just show you guys real quick. For the bars, this is what we're going to be using basically. And you maximize this, right? I'll zoom in. I'll just zoom in, so you can see basically from the stats of the application, you have what? Your authentication. What is your authentication? Your authentication is basically your login and your create account, right? So if I thought you log in, if I thought you already have an account and then you just log in, it takes you to the home page basically, right? But if I thought you want to create an account, you can see this one has a different branch here. If you create an account now, after creating your account, putting in your necessary details, then you have to choose your preferred genre and then your artist, and then you go to your home page, right? So for example, let's say you've forgotten your password, right, your login password and all that. You can always go to your forgot password, that's your recovery process and all that, to send an OTP, and then you can basically come back here to your login. Okay, so this from your home you have explore music, you have playlists, you have music play, and then you have your user dashboard. So you can see how it's still what? Just the flow, right, of how one process leads to another. So if I select explore music now, I can choose playlist, I can select artists, I can browse different genres here. And under these different genres now, what do we have? We have what? Listing of tracks in that particular genre, right? If I come here and I select artist, we have the artist profile, and then I can choose to play track, and then it takes me to what? My music player, right? So still basically the same flow, just from one process to another. If my user dash, I can visit my user profile, I can go to settings, I can view my settings and all. So in my settings, I have my group access, my audio quality, I can provide feedback, I can get support, I can get the information about bars, right? And then the version and all that. So, well, I guess that's quite explanatory, right? So it's just basically the flow, right? The flow. So that's just basically our flow chart. Okay, so to end this guy, the last thing that is needed here is just one more thing. Now basically done. I can just come here, click on this, and then put this here, and that is what our end. So END. So basically this is what the end of this e-commerce flowchart. So what I can even choose to what export this. The one I showed you just few seconds ago is actually a PNG format, right? So if you are told you want to export here, you can export as a PNG format. So you come to your file, you scroll down to export. You can see once you come to export as, it has different formats for you and all that. So if you export as PNG or JPEG, right, it's actually going to export in the picture format for you. You can only use the PDF or SVG, right, whichever one suits you. But if I thought you just want to display it or save it, basically you can just use your PNG, and then it's going to just show you few settings. You can just leave it as the default, right, and then you can just choose export, and then it's going to basically show you some different options, right? It might tell you device, it will show you OneDrive and some other choices there and all that, but you can just save this way on my device. So it's going to download for you, right, inside that particular directory. Okay, so in the next phase, we're actually going to be designing the wireframe of bars, right? So it's actually going to be an exciting one. So, well, let's see how it goes.
All right, guys, we've seen how we can actually create a project brief and how we can design a flowchart on our own. So the thing now is that in our next video, we're going to be designing a wireframe and a splash screen, onboarding, and then an authentication page for our application. Don't get worried or anything, don't get confused. We're actually going to define this and explain everything bit by bit in our next video. So I'm hoping to see you there. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to our channel, okay? Because I'm sure you don't want to miss this next video. So I'll see you there.